Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today I'm going to do a video about Artix Linux. It's a distribution based on Arch Linux, and I'm going to download it, install it, and take a look at it. So let's get to it. I'm at the Artix Linux website, and like I said, they're based on Arch Linux, but their claim to fame is that they're systemd free. And if you don't know what systemd is, I don't know what to say. So systemd is an init system and much more. It's a system that initializes your apps and programs that you have starting when you boot into your system. That's a really simplistic way of explaining it. And there are different init systems, and that's what Artix Linux gives you the opportunity to install them. So what I'm going to do is go to the download page. And they have three basic different types that you can download. You can download a base ISO, which does your install from the TTY, or you can do one of two graphical installations. So the middle one here, this is going to do a graphical installation with a desktop environment and a minimal set of applications. The third option is a community ISO, which is going to also use the Calamares installer, and it's going to give you a full install, a full desktop environment with a ton of apps. Then I'm going to go down and I'm going to pick a mirror. Now they don't have any Canadian mirrors here, so I'm going to pick one from the United States, and I'm going to pick a university mirror because I like university mirrors. I always think they're safer. Whether they are, I really don't know. So now when you get here, first thing you're going to notice is that all their ISO, they have a whole pile of ISOs here, and they're all current. So Artix ISOs came out on, some of them came out on August 22nd, and some of them came out on August 23rd. And my recent videos on Manjaro, same thing. Manjaro came out with their new ISOs at the same time, I think the third week of August. So whether that's a coincidence or whether there's a reason for that, I don't know. If you do, let me know in the comments. So the second decision you have to make after you decide whether you want a base install, a medium install, or a full install is which one do you want to install? You got to pick one of these ISOs. And then you have to decide which init system do you want. Do you want dinit? Now it's not going to come with systemd, so you have to install one with either dinit, OpenRC, or Runit. Now, Runit is used in Void Linux, uses Runit, and OpenRC comes from the BSD distributions. And if you also notice the sizes, so the base installs are 922 megabytes. The medium ISOs are 1.8 gigabyte. The full ISOs, they're called community. They are 3.6 gigabytes. So I'm going to pick this one here. I'm going to download Artix Cinnamon with the Runit init system ISO, and it's 1.8 gig, and it came out on August 22nd. So I'm going to download it. And oh, it's downloading really fast. Check that out. I guess I'm not going to have to pause the video for this. And then I'm going to go through a full install and take a look at it. And at the end, of course, like I always do, I'm going to give you my opinion in the conclusion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a virtual machine, boot into the live environment. Well, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to make a virtual machine, boot into the live environment, and go through an install. And then take a look at it, and then give you my opinion. So don't go away, because I'm going to be back. And you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to show you how I make my virtual machines. I'm using Virt Manager. So I'm going to go forward. I'm going to click on Browse. I'm going to browse local. And I'm going to click on this one. Sorry, it says it was 2 gigs. So it's Artix Cinnamon with Runit. Came out on August 23rd. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click this off. I'm going to type in Arch. I wish Virt Manager would get rid of this part of the installation. But you know what? VirtualBox does the same thing. And so does VMware. I'm going to click on Arch because it's an Arch-based system. And I'm doing this because it's not recognizing it. Vert Manager is not recognizing Artix Linux as a distribution or as an ISO. I'm going to forward it, and I'm going to give it 4 gigs of RAM, 4 processors. I click on forward. I'm going to give it a 50 gig hard drive, and I'm going to forward it, and I'm going to change the name now. This is just a label, Artix, and I'm going to finish it. Usually when I'm making my videos, I don't show this part, but hey, what the hey. So now I'm going to use my arrows to go up and down, and I'm going to boot from CD, DVD, or ISO. So it's an ISO, not booting from a stick. So now we're going to boot into the live environment, and I'm not going to do a tour of it. I'm just going to go right into an install. And here we are. We're in the live environment, and first thing I'm going to do is go to display settings because this is a virtual machine. I do this to all my virtual machines. In bare metal, you probably won't have to do this. And I'm changing it to 1360 by 768. I'm going to apply it. And keep new configuration. And we're probably going to, well, not probably, we're going to have to do this again after the install. Now here's the icon right here, install Artix. So let's click it on. And there's a switch here. You can do select calamaris, online is experimental, go with offline. So I guess you could do an online one, but they're saying it's experimental. So I'm going to do offline. Okay. Let's just go there. So American English, I'm going to click on next. It's recognized my city. I'm going to go to next. Keyboard is good. Next. I'm going to click on erase disk. Now automatically it's set to do a swap with Hibernate. I'm going to go no swap. I don't need a swap file. By default, it's on ext4, but you can change that. But I'm going to leave it on ext4. I'm going to click on encrypt. And I'm going to put my encryption password in. I'm going to go next. And my name is Mensch. My computer name is going to be Artix. My password is going to be that. I'm going to do it again. And require strong passwords. I'm going to leave that turned off. Log in automatically. I'm going to leave it turned off. Use the same password for administrator account. I'm going to click that on. And I'm going to click next. And I'm going to click install. So if you watched my Manjaro videos, you realized the installer is almost identical. The only difference with the Manjaro one is that in the installer, in the Calamares installer, it gives you an option to choose no Office Suite, LibreOffice Suite, I think it was, or OpenOffice. This doesn't. So this installation is going to take about 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. So I'm going to pause the video and come back. So don't go away. Wow, that was a really fast install. You know what? I should have timed it, and I didn't. But I think it was only like 2.5 minutes. So I'm going to click on restart. Click on done. And now we're going to reboot into our new system. That was so fast. Let's just make that full screen. Now it's asking for my encryption password. This looks exactly the same as the screen when I did my Manjaro videos and when I did my Endeavor videos. So it's decrypting my drive because I encrypted it. And now we have a menu here. Oh, that's gone. Let's just boot into it. Yeah, there was a menu there where you could choose your kernel or advanced options. Let's just keep this rolling. And we're going to bring, oh, there's our login manager. And so we have here, we can see only Cinnamon is installed. And I'm going to put my password in. And we're in our system. So now I have to go back to display and reset my display settings like I always have to do. But this is the last time I'm going to have to do it. Let's do 1360 by 768. Keep the new configuration, and it's done. Of course, because it's Cinnamon, and I've done many videos on the Cinnamon desktop, you can make the Cinnamon desktop look a lot nicer than it does right now. And it's easy to do. And so I'm not going to do that in this video, because this video is more about Artix than the Cinnamon desktop. Let's just see what's installed. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to do an update. And oh, That's really not that readable, is it? Let's go into preferences. Of course, it's using the GNOME terminal because it's the Cinnamon desktop. Let's do custom font. Let's see, do we have any bold fonts in here? We don't, eh? I'm going to go Terminus. We don't have bold. Let's turn it up to 16. And colors. Ooh, let's do white on black. Can we do bold color? Highlight color. Let's do X term. And let's close it. Let's see if that's better. Kind of dark, eh? Mensch. That was my font. Let's go back into preferences. Let's do colors. Let's show bright colors. Let's see if that's better. Well, okay, let's just leave that for now. And let's do sudo pacman. I should spell it right. You know what? I don't really like that font. Let's go back to preferences. Let's do monospace. Let's see if that's better. Ah, that's better. Okay. Let's do sudo pacman syu. So we're going to update the system. I'm going to put my password in. And let's just see how many packages we're updating. Wow. Wow. So we didn't do a net install, and it was recommending not to do a net install. If you do it, when you do a net install, it's up to date when you finish doing your installation. So when I do my Arch Linux, my pure Arch Linux installs, whether I'm using the relatively new automated Arch installer or I'm doing a manual install, when I finish my install, the system is up to date. And as we saw here in the installer, they have the ability to do a net install, which would mean you'd be up to date, but it says it is experimental and not to use it. So it doesn't tell me how many packages I'm updating here. How about that? There's a lot though. Look at that list. For sure I'm going to have to reboot because it's updating the kernel. Here we can see right here. Oh, there's no highlight. Anyways, we can see right here it's updating the kernel. So for sure I'm going to have to reboot. And let's go. So it's updating. There it is. It's updating 221 packages. Well, I'm going to pause the video and come back. So don't go away. Okay, so took about maybe 3 minutes. I didn't time it. 3 or 4 minutes. I never got out of my chair. So, I mean, if it was really long update, then I would have gotten out of my chair and walked around. So let's reboot. Oh, access denied. Yeah. Oh, do I have to do a sudo? Sudo reboot. Here we go. So we're rebooting into the system. Asking for my encryption password. Decrypting the drive. And now we're at the login screen. So let's put my password in. And we booted into our system. Let's just turn on the volume. And let's just go to home. Let's just open that up. Make it full screen. Let's just take a look at what's installed. So for internet, we have web, and I think it's Epiphany. Let's open it up. So we're opening the web browser that came with this. And so it opens up to the Artix website. Okay. Let's see, what are we using? I think it's Epiphany. It is. It's GNOME Web, which is Epiphany. So I don't think anybody's using this. So probably you're going to want to uninstall it and install Firefox or Brave browser or something better than that. So that's web. For Office, there's no Office. So for Office, the only thing that's installed is a document viewer, Atrel, and or is it Atrel? Atrel is a good document viewer. It's light, and I've used it, and I like it. But if you want to install LibreOffice or any other Office suite, you're going to have to do that yourself. Sound and video, they have MPV media player. They have nothing for music. Okay. Administration, everything is very light. Oh, they have GNOME calculator. Nice dark theme. I like that. And it's very minimal, and it's GNOME terminal. There's really not a lot in here. We have Htop. Htop is not installed. So let's do sudo pacman s htop. Put my password in. Let's hit enter. And also, let's see if we have a firewall installed. And we don't. Let's go to administration. Yeah, there's no firewall installed. So let's do an Htop first. Let's see what we're running at. Oh, that's light. For the Cinnamon desktop. So of course I gave this virtual machine 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and no swap. And it's been 4 minutes now since we rebooted after updating it, and we're running at 500 megabytes. Not bad. And I even opened up a web browser. Let's install firewall. Sudo pacman s. Let's do G uncomplicated firewall. So normally when I do my Arch installations, my pure Arch installations, regardless of whether I'm doing a manual install or using the automated installer, I always install uncomplicated firewall. And uncomplicated firewall comes with my install scripts from my GitLab repository, in case any of you have ever used them. And I don't have G uncomplicated firewall in my install scripts. And the G just means there's a graphical app to configure and turn it on. That's all. So I'm going to install G uncomplicated firewall, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. Let's put my password in. Let's hit enter. And I'm going to open it up. Should be, let's just go to settings. Make that full screen. And there it is there. Let's click it on. It's asking for my password. And it's turned off by default. So let's toggle it on. Now it's on. And it's set to deny all incoming and allow all outgoing. Okay, so let's shut that. And let's shut this. And now reboot. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. Oh, I have to do a sudo reboot. Or, you know what? We could even reboot this way. Let's restart. That way I don't have to put my password in. And there's a reason why I'm going through this. Let's do that. Put my encryption password in. So I've been playing with Artix for the past few days. I installed several different ones with OpenRC and ones with Runit. And I did a full install. I also did a medium install with XFCE. And I've been playing around with it. And this is what I noticed. And this is why I'm showing you this. So I'm going to put my password in. And what we're going to see is the firewall is not turned on. It's gone off. Let's go into settings. Let's open it up. Let's go to the bottom. Let's click on firewall. Put the password in. And did I do the password? And look at that. Oh, I clicked it twice. That's why that's there. And look at that. The firewall's off. I never saw this happen before. I've only seen this happen with Artix, and I've been playing with it the past few days. It doesn't happen with Linux Mint, Manjaro, Arch Linux, any other distributions I've ever used. This never happens. And I think it's because, well, we're using Runit. So I think this G uncomplicated firewall is set to work with systemd, but I'm not sure. So in order for this to be turned on automatically, you're going to have to go in the terminal and do it. Now, in the terminal, in my Arch Linux install videos, I don't install G uncomplicated firewall, I install uncomplicated firewall. And in the terminal, I have a script, a run script that sets up the firewall and turns it on so that whenever you reboot into the system, it's going to be turned on. But if you use my install scripts and install Arch Linux, and you install G uncomplicated firewall and go into the GUI and turn it on, it will always be on every time you reboot. And that's because I use systemd in Arch Linux, right? So this is Runit, and I couldn't figure out how to use Runit in the terminal, and I couldn't figure out how to use OpenRC in the terminal. So the thing is that I never used OpenRC or Runit before. I used Runit a little bit when I was running Void Linux. I made some videos on Void Linux, like I don't know if it was a year ago, and I played with Runit, but I don't remember how to use it. So if you go to the Artix Linux website and go to the wiki, there's a section here on OpenRC. And if you scan down here, it tells you how to use it, and it gives you some commands. Okay, it gives you some examples, how to set up a service, and how to start and stop it. Now, if we go back, you can also click on Run It, and it does the same thing here on their website. So it tells you how to install a service, how to set it up, and it gives you some commands. Okay, some examples here. Here you are here. Do this to start a service, to stop a service, to check the status. And I played around with these commands from the Artix website, both for OpenRC and for Runit. I couldn't figure out how to set up a system to start on boot up, i.e. the firewall. And then they have OpenRC at Gentoo, so I went there. And there's information on Gentoo on how to set up OpenRC. And they also have a section on Runit on Gentoo, so I did the same thing. Couldn't get it working. Then I went to the Arch Linux website, and I went to their wiki. And I typed in OpenRC, scan down here. They give you some information. They tell you how to use it. Even shows you a comparison between systemd, sysvinet, and OpenRC. And then on the Arch Linux wiki, I went to Runit. Click that on. And it gives you information about Runit. Now, in pure Arch Linux, if you install Runit or OpenRC instead of systemd, you're on your own. And they tell you that. But Artix supports those, and not systemd, of course. So I tried finding help on here. I even watched a few videos and did some Googling. If you go to systemd and go down to here. So like I said at the beginning of the video, systemd is the one that is used in most Linux distributions. And I do systemd commands in all of my videos in the terminal. And the way I learned systemd was not because I'm brilliant or smart, and I didn't learn it from watching videos. I learned systemd from this chart on the Arch Linux website. And these are the commands. Show system status, list running units, start up a unit, stop a unit, restart a unit, reload, enable a unit to start automatically on boot, disable a unit to no longer start on boot, and so forth. And that's how I learned how to use systemd. And these commands worked right off the bat. When I first started learning how to do things in a terminal and use systemd, these worked right off the bat. I didn't have any problem with these commands. So I thought I could do the same thing with Runit and OpenRC. And when the commands weren't working for me from the Artix website, I went to the Gentoo website and the Aritx Linux website, and I've been playing around with this for 2 days, and I was planning to post a video, to get a video up and running and post it earlier, and it took me, I spent a lot of time. So I downloaded and installed Artix with OpenRC and Artix with Runit, and I couldn't figure out how to get it working. By following these commands, you figure the commands on the Artix website would work. Typing in these commands, so either there's something wrong with me and I don't know what I'm doing, and maybe I'm slow, I don't know. Now, I'm not going to do any more in here. Let's just see if there's any wallpapers here. Probably not. Change background. Doesn't look like they have any wallpapers in here. So it really is, well, it's not minimal, it's a medium install, which I did. Images, settings. How come my volume got turned off? So if I was going to use this system, and it's a big if, first of all, I would get rid of a Epiphany, which is the GNOME web browser. I would install Firefox. I would install Rhythmbox, and I would install a lot of my favorite apps and applications. But to tell you the truth, I wouldn't use it because I can't be bothered learning how to use Runit or OpenRC and fiddling around with it. And that's it. In this video, I downloaded, installed, and updated Artix Linux. I took you to the website and showed the different types of ISOs you can download and use. And what I'm going to say is, I would never use it. It's not for me. The biggest claim to fame is that it's systemd free. And for those of you who don't like systemd and who are advanced users, I say go ahead, use Artix. But if you're new to Linux, or if you've been using Linux a long time, but you stayed away from the terminal and never used the terminal, I don't recommend using Artix. First of all, you're going to have to decide which ISO. And it's complicated because they have basic ISO, a medium ISO, and a full ISO. Then you have to decide you want to use dinit, which not to be confused with systemd, dinit, OpenRC, or Runit, which init system to use. And you have to know how to use that init system, and there's very little documentation on the internet. And even the instructions on the Artix website, Gentoo website, and Aritx Linux website were not clear and easy to follow, and I wasn't able to figure it out. I couldn't get the firewall to start on boot up, even using the graphical app G Uncomplicated Firewall. If you've been using pure Aritx Linux, and even if you installed it the manual way, I don't recommend using Artix unless you're really advanced and you're able to figure out how to use their init system. Because you need things to start on boot up, and you want to be able to turn them off or turn them on easily and quickly without spending hours fiddling around and figuring out how to use it. And to tell you the truth, I am disappointed because I've had quite a few people recommending Artix to me, and I don't see what the big hullabaloo is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.